Joining us now is Kelly Rockwell, the co-founder and president of My Work Matters, one of 290 charities and nonprofits supported by Share Detroit. It was founded in 2018, and she joins us now on the MegaCast. Kelly, thanks for being with us.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, good to have you with us. Can you tell us first about My Work Matters and the history of this organization?
Sure. So My Work Matters was started and founded in 2018 by a group of parents, advocates, and caregivers of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Our mission is to increase employment opportunities for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So it took us about a year after we founded the organization to get it off the ground. But we did start with the full intention of opening a coffee shop that would employ people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So after about a year in 2019, at the very end of 2019 in December, Anastasia and Katie's coffee shop was opened as our first inclusive business and first employment program. So we had a ribbon cutting in January of 2020, which, as we know now, wasn't really the best timing to open a small business with a global pandemic hitting just a few weeks later. But our motto at the coffee shop is "We are good and strong," and so we kind of are a group that's used to challenges and adversity, and we're still here and growing and have some new programs in development.
So can you give us some insight into the job market for those with developmental disabilities? Because it's tough for people to seek employment on any given day. But for those with developmental disabilities, they have multiple hurdles to overcome in that employment process. Can you tell us about what those are and just how tough it can be for somebody with a disability to find work?
Sure. So those statistics aren't great. It's an over 80% unemployment rate for people with developmental disabilities or disabilities in general in Michigan, and that's a statistic that kind of stands throughout the country. But the challenges are mostly related to opportunity and perception that people that have IDD, or short for intellectual and developmental disabilities, can't do a job. There's other barriers such as transportation. A lot of people in this community don't drive. So if there's not community transportation available, or if they don't have a caregiver that can help with transportation, that can be a barrier. The lack of expectations, low expectations. So some of the data that's been studied shows that families of children in school-age environments aren't getting information about the types of employment that can help people with disabilities. And there's a lack of role models for those youth and young adults. So that leads to not a lot of people pursuing employment, in addition to those that do want it not having the opportunities. So for every person to have a job, you need an employee and an employer, kind of like a marriage. You need both to make that work. Another issue that is not too widely known is that in Michigan, we are still a state that allows for sub-minimum wage, which means that people with disabilities in some circumstances, by applying for a waiver, can be paid by an employer less than minimum wage. So there's a substantial number of workers in Michigan with disabilities that are paid far below minimum wage and are also in work environments that are segregated settings. So all of those things are barriers, as well as some specific health conditions that go along with disabilities, and not understanding how to approach employers to have accommodations made around those with disabilities.
So these are a lot of gaps to close or to bridge in order for these individuals with developmental disabilities just to have an opportunity at a job, let alone maintain that job for a significant period of time. How does your organization then help those individuals not only get their foot in the door, but remain on the job going forward?
So we do that through grassroots advocacy, education, connecting individuals to resources that could help, and also by directly employing people with IDD at our business, Anastasia and Katie's coffee shop. So if an employee is having trouble sustaining employment, there are specific resources out there that can help with that in organizations as well as ours. There's education around types of accommodations that can be made to help people keep jobs as well.
We're joined by Kelly Rockwell, the co-founder and president of My Work Matters. Joining us on the MegaCast, this is one of 290 Share Detroit supported charities and nonprofits. Learn more information on Share Detroit's website, sharedetroit.org, by searching in their charities and nonprofits catalog for My Work Matters, M-I Work Matters, My Work Matters under that for more information and to visit their website. Can you tell us about your Employee Ambassadors program? Because this is really interesting and it helps not only those individuals that have already been helped by your organization or may have received some help from a similar operation, but also to help other people as well and advocate for their fellow people with developmental disabilities.
Yeah, that's right. And it's a program I'm really, really proud of and really excited about. So the Employment Ambassadors are first and foremost a group of self-advocates. They're all young adults that have intellectual and developmental disabilities, but along with that, they either do have currently have jobs or they have had employment experience already. So they go out to local businesses and talk to business leaders by giving a presentation that includes information about themselves as an individual with a disability. Might include information specific to their disability. It includes information on their experience as a worker with a disability and what that's like and what things may help them. And then it also talks a little bit about the merits of hiring somebody that does have a disability and what the advantages are to an employer and what things can be done to make it easier and to bridge that gap. So the Ambassadors did do quite a few presentations in person prior to the pandemic. And then we kind of regrouped, and just most recently, they have done a presentation at DTE Energy to a group of 50 people within their employee resource groups. So they were able to take their presentation that they had rehearsed all along, that they've delivered many times, and rework that and deliver it in a virtual format, which also provided quite a few additional skills in terms of video meetings and technology. So it's also worth knowing that the ambassadors are paid by My Work Matters for each presentation that they give. So not only are they, an advocate, acting as advocates and role models, but they are earning money while they're doing that.
We're joined by Kelly Rockwell, the co-founder and the president of My Work Matters, joining us on the MegaCast, one of 290 charities and nonprofits supported on the Share Detroit platform at sharedetroit.org. Go there for more information, sharedetroit.org. And so we talked a lot about the relationship between My Work Matters and individuals with developmental disabilities in training opportunities and bridging some of those gaps in the job market and in advocacy. What about the relationships that your organization has with businesses themselves of varying sizes? Can you talk to those relationships and how that helps your organization provide the service that it does here in Michigan?
Well, yeah, we're able to do that in a number of ways. The coffee shop gives us an avenue to connect with small businesses within the area of Livonia through we can provide boxed lunches, we can provide catered coffee, things like that. And then we are forming partnerships with large and small businesses. Speaking of the ambassador program that we just talked about, after one of the presentations that was done in the summer of 2021, one of the groups that's a very large business in Novi, Michigan, did hire one of the ambassadors to go work at their corporate offices. They had to reopen their offices after being closed for COVID for a time, so the ambassador was employed there. So they became our first employer partner. We are seeking more employers that would like to partner with us so that we can assist both the employee and the employer in hiring people with disabilities. Aside from that, we are working with corporate sponsors to sponsor our programs, and just mostly what we're trying to do is get the information out there about all of the advantages that exist for employers to hire somebody, and with the right resources, we can reach both more employers and more potential job seekers.
You can learn more information in a couple of places. myworkmatters.org. That's myworkmatters.org. For more information directly from My Work Matters, or by visiting sharedetroit.org, clicking on their Find Nonprofits link at the top of their homepage, and then searching MI Work Matters for My Work Matters. We're joined by the co-founder and the president of My Work Matters, Kelly Rockwell, on the Michigan Megacast. Kelly, just another couple minutes with you before we'll say goodbye today. Anything else at this time that would be interesting for our audience to know, or if they'd like to get involved with My Work Matters, either on a volunteer basis, in an advocacy basis with their business, or they have an individual in their family or themselves are an individual with a developmental disability, how can they get involved?
Sure. So we do have a number of upcoming programs, that we're able to continue the work that we started before the pandemic. So we are developing a vocational training program at the coffee shop. We are doing a number of social outreach programs that will be hosted at the coffee shop and in the outdoor space that we have there. So if people want to get involved, we need volunteers to help with those upcoming programs. People can donate. That always helps us to get the resources that we need to keep that going. People can visit the coffee shop in Livonia as a customer. That helps us out a lot, and also partner with us to increase employment opportunities if you're an employer, big or small, and sponsor programs. All those things are really things that will help us quite a bit.
Kelly, we thank you so much for joining us and telling us all about My Work Matters and the services you provide, but also the advocacy work of your organization as well.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.